Hey everybody, sorry about the video quality. I don't normally do things like this, but I thought that I would today just to offer up my 2 cents on why I think I get bigger bang for my buck with this tracker digger tool by Tops when compared to the Tom Brown tracker. First, let me start off by saying I love the Tom Brown tracker. I'm a total fanboy. I don't go anywhere without it. I'll leave my phone behind. I'll leave my wallet behind long before I leave this tool behind. That said, I've heard it said by many people online that the Tom Brown tracker, I guess all trackers, is one of those knives that you either love it or you hate it. And a lot of them say that they hate it. A lot of guys say they hate this blade because they say this saw spine doesn't work very well as a saw. Well, guess what? It's not a freaking saw. It's a notching tool. And that is where I kind of fall out of love so much with the tracker. Still love it, but all right, more on that in just a second. As with any cutting tool, I'm going to use this cutting edge far more often than I will use this notching spine. All right, I do produce my own tent stakes, but I don't need a notching tool to do that. I'll beaver cut a freaking cordage notch in tent stakes long before I get the job done with that notching spine. I've used this tooth here to pull nails out of wood before I throw it in the fire pit after coming down out of a tree stand, but that's about it. I don't use this notching spine. I don't set meat traps, and I don't need a special tool in order to produce 3 or 4 tent stakes. That said, I will take a second cutting edge on a digger over that notching spine every day. Give me the tool that I use the most, which is this cutting edge, over a tool that I don't use. Okay? That's where I find the most value in the digger when comparing it to the tracker. I get 2 cutting edges and I don't have that spine there, which I don't use anyway. Also, with the digger, this thing, because of the shape, it's designed to dig holes. It's designed to scrape away earth, okay? And I will dig a lot more holes than I will carve notches into, meat trap triggers and tent stakes and all that other stuff that you hear people talking about, how they use this tracker in the field. Really, ask yourself, are you really carving notches into meat trap triggers? Okay, but with a tool like this, a shovel, basically, a little garden hand shovel, I'll scrape debris away for a fire ring. I'll dig a hole for my waste or biodegradable trash. Maybe I need to bury a rattlesnake head or whatever. Bottom line is, I'll dig a lot more holes than I will carve notches with a tracker. Okay, and if I need to carve a cordage notch, which I do, I make my own tent stakes. I don't bring sand to the beach. I'll make my own tent stakes when I get into the wild. I'll just beaver cut those things in, and there you go. It doesn't have to look pretty. These things, either one of them, these things are designed and built to be bulls in a china shop. I don't care what my cordage notches look like, as long as they hold the cordage, right? Another great feature that I love about this knife is that extended tang right there. The tracker does not have that extended tang. Any of you guys that are tracker enthusiasts, you'll quickly see the difference there. Let me get that pinky lanyard out of the way there. This is the digger right here. It's got that extended tang at the end of your scales there. So when you stab this into your wood, if you need to split wood that way, and then you get it batoning down onto that thing, you're not going to be beating the hell out of your scales. Look, you stab your tracker down into your wood and then get to beating on the end of your handle, I guarantee you're going to start beating the hell out of these screw holes here, right? Stay off of that. This thing, I mean, you can baton through with the tracker, absolutely. I've freaking split a cord of wood with this thing probably since I've had it. But to stab it down straight and then baton down onto this extended tang, man, that is a dream. I love it. And so again, more bang for the buck with the digger over the tracker. Also, if you guys do bow drill stuff, you practice bow drill, or maybe that's your primary form of making a fire. Seems kind of silly as a primary form of fire making, but whatever. The digger comes with this bow drill divot right there. This is micarta handle, very, very low friction. Get your bow drill spindle in there, your drill, and mash down on that sucker. You're bow drilling. The tracker doesn't have that. Now what the tracker does have, same thing as the digger, the tracker does have these screw points, and if your drill is sharp enough, you can get into that screw point if you want to and use that as a bearing block. But I find that this digger handle with that bearing block hole, that divot, is just awesome. Look at that. I mean, no friction, man, no friction. It's an awesome feature of this digger. I think this digger was designed with fire making in mind. I really do, because of the spade shape. The whole thing is meant to be a little hand shovel, and I mean, you know, the cutting edges, same exact cutting edges as you get with the tracker. And also, when you start spinning your digger into your fireboard, you start spinning that digger into that fireboard, you are very quickly carving out your fireboard divot. So, all things told, I won't leave home without either one of these. I do prefer, for most things, the digger over the tracker. That said, I only use the tracker one, the T1, the largest of the 4 different tracker sizes. You can get them smaller sizes all the way down to what's basically a neck knife. Why you would carry a tracker style neck knife is beyond me. To me, a neck knife is a fighting style knife on a breakaway chain, and that's just not the tracker. Some people call this a fighting knife. Those are probably people who don't know how to knife fight. But anyways, I find that for most purposes, this digger gives me far more value than the tracker. With that double edge right there, I can do twice the cutting. I can get all my work done during daylight hours and sharpen the thing up at night around the campfire. That's what I want to do anyway. I want to sharpen up my knives and my broadheads around the campfire at night, and that's it. I don't want to have to stop what I'm doing and put an edge on this tracker during daylight hours. Never had to do that. Just saying I wouldn't want to. What else? Okay, one of the drawbacks about the digger as opposed to the tracker, one of the things is batoning. You're not going to get this digger onto your wood here and start batoning through it without tearing up your baton. To me, that's not a big deal. If I'm batoning through kindling or whatever, I'm gonna have 4 or 5 good heavy hardwoods sitting beside me to use as batons. But if you're one of those guys that wants to produce a mallet and use that, okay, do that. But you're gonna slice into that. You're gonna be pulling chunks out of that thing as you baton through whatever kindling you're working on. The tracker is going to be a little bit more forgiving as far as batoning onto that 1/4 inch spine. I get that, but to me it's not that big of a deal because I'm setting up camp to do other things. I'm not trying to make a mallet. So there's that. Also, with the tracker, it's pretty easy to use this draw blade here as a draw blade. Pull it back toward you. With the digger, you're going to want to be a little bit more careful, and I wouldn't recommend that at all. Also, if you guys like the whole choke up on the handle and use this 1/4 inch spine to do more fine push cuts or carving or whatever, you're going to sacrifice that with the digger. To me, that's not a big deal because these things are, both these knives, they're meant to be bulls in a china shop. They're not really designed to do a whole lot of fine cutting and carving. If you want that, you need to get yourself a smaller knife. That's my opinion. I still carry the Garbird on my right hip. I carry a freaking Leatherman on my left hip. They go everywhere my shadow goes, and that's what I'm going to use for smaller, more detailed work if I ever do. Normally I'm out there bushwhacking, so I don't really concern myself with having to put my thumb on a spine of a knife like that. But if that's important to you and you want to do it with a big old bull in a china shop, then you're probably not going to want to do that with a digger. I mean, stay away from the blades, that's all. I guess that's about it. Anyway, the reason why I shot this video is because there's not a lot out there about this tool. Most everything you see, if you're looking up Tom Brown videos, you're going to find the tracker. You're going to find 1,000 different videos about guys doing reviews on this blade, on this Tom Brown tracker, and they're never talking about the digger. There's probably maybe 6 videos that feature the digger, and if either one of them is 10 minutes long, I'd be surprised. So I thought that I would post this video. I hope it helps. Really, I'm just throwing this digger out there as an option, not really as an alternative to the tracker. My digger will never replace my tracker. I carry them both everywhere I go, but it does supplement the tracker very, very well. I mean, can you dig a hole with the tracker? Absolutely, you can dig a hole with a tracker, but can you dig it better with a digger? Yeah, I think so. So anyways, that's it for me, guys. I hope this helps. Maybe consider the digger. For they're pretty much the same price point. You look either one of these tools up online, you know, retail online, you're going to expect to pay 2.25 for them, for either one. They're similarly priced. I won't bother to put a link in the description and all that other stuff because I'm not into the whole YouTube influence crap. Don't care about that. But you know, it's called the Tracker Digger. Look it up. It's called the Tom Brown Tracker. Look it up. It's easy to find. But if you spend any time in the bush and you do an honest assessment, here's a challenge. You do an honest assessment about how often and how you use this notching spine compared to how often, yikes, I sharpened this thing myself. If you determine that you don't use this nearly as often as you use that cutting edge, and you think that you might dig more holes than what you carve notches, consider the digger. I think you're going to love it. And check out that extended tang. Have a blast, guys, and remember, you catch more flies with a steaming pile of turd than you do honey.